So today I am joined by Charles from Beeskraal. This is Charles Schmidt. Charles and I have known each other for many years. We met each other at the Technicon, and from there on he had a very successful career as a band leader, guitarist, songwriter, singer in the band Beeskraal. Charles, please tell us about your career, everything that you've done, where it started for you, so that the viewers can really understand what it is that you do.
Yes, yeah, Alreen, yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, yes, I first did my degree in public relations and media liaison, or as they call it at the university, communication studies. And then after that, because like all parents, I couldn't go study music directly after school. But then while I was studying my public relations degree, I already started playing in bands and hanging out with some of the most prominent players in our session scene today, like Vinnie and Rico and Fleurs and all those guys, and Marius Appelgrein. Yep. Then they were already at the Tech. And then I was very, very blessed actually to hang out with these guys, because I also got my guitar lessons before I went to jazz school. My final teacher was Fleurs. And then, yeah, I did 2 years. And then in the third year, all of a sudden, Beeskraal started booming. We all used to play in different other English punk bands that also did well. And I got a nick for the Afrikaans alternative music at some stage. We used to get booked at some of the hostels at the universities, and there I got to know people like Koos Kombuis and Valiant Swart, Johannes Kerkorrel, the whole Voëlvry thing.
Yep.
So that was while we were still doing our English stuff. And then, yeah, I thought something just clicked to me about that music. Yeah, I'm not such a big fan of commercial Afrikaans music, although I love all the people. We come along very well. So, but I know most of them know I'm not into what they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's got their own thing going, so that's fine. It's like Beeskraal as well. We've got a very niche market. We're not commercially as big as say for instance, Steve Hofmeyer or whatever, but we started in a very different very difficult time period, because the time we started Beeskraal, we were actually the only Afrikaans rock band that we knew of in Pretoria, except for Jackhammer, Piet Botha, and Not My Dog, which were English bands.
Yeah.
So we started performing with them. Most of them also studied at Tech. They were just, a bit older than us. And then, so we actually did our first gig with Piet Botha, and we were actually looking for a vocalist. But because I'm the songwriter, we went to the rehearsals, and then I played the songs for the guys so they can hear how the songs must go.
Yeah.
So, and Marius Appelgrein at that one stage, he was the session drummer for Piet Botha as well, for Jackhammer then.
Yeah.
And then he organized a gig for us to open for Piet Botha at some stage, just out of the blue, and telling us, okay, well, we're going to go play with Piet at Cool Runnings in Pretoria North. And I thought, well, we haven't got a vocalist yet, because I'm not a vocalist at all. I study guitar, and I love my songwriting, and I do other art stuff as well, writing poetry and stuff like that. But so the story goes like it's quite funny. So everybody told me in the band, no man, just sing for that one night till we get a vocalist, and we only had 4 songs. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And after 22 years now, I'm still singing in the band.
Lekker. Jy het die job gekry. Yeah. You got the job, guy. You didn't even know that you're auditioning, and you got the job.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, because I was actually, I would have loved to play lead guitar all the time, but then all of a sudden I thought, okay, well, we're gonna need a proper rhythm guitarist as well because of the type of music we do, like the Boerepunk stuff. If you take away the concertina and the banjo, it's basically like Rancid and Dropkick Murphys or a Green Day or a Offspring and the Afrikaans lyrics.
I see.
And then we just mixed traditional Afrikaans instruments with that, which actually, it actually caught a big audience because all the people liked it because of the traditional instruments. And the younger generation, it just took off, especially at the universities, students, and even at schools, and but and then another actually wrote the other day in one of his articles he wrote, we were like a bridge between the Voëlvry tour, which ended in the late 80s and early 90s, and then we started with this other whole Afrikaans crazy thing that we actually did it as a tongue-in-the-cheek thing in the beginning.
I see.
To be honest.
I see. Yeah.
We wore khaki clothes and fallies and stuff like that. Which it was a bit in Afrikaans we call it anarchisties,
Yes.
They're like almost against the government type of thing, playing Afrikaans stuff, but in this punk heavy style, and we were jumping on stage like Limp Bizkit and everything, but with these phallics and khaki clothes on. And then after a while, we got some flack actually with some of our songs that people thought were a bit racial, but it wasn't. I wrote songs like Biography, which was actually just a cultural song. And then people started giving us crap in the media about wearing these khaki clothes. And then it was about, let's just drop that. But now everybody is doing the whole khaki and fally thing, and everyone is now hunting and yachting and boering and
it's a fashion
and whatever.
So
they follow trends. So that's they follow trends. But we stick to our guns. We did about 3 albums that didn't do well. From the 14 that we did, which was a bit, I think, too heavy. That was just before Fokkofpolisiekar and Carl Zoid came into the scene. And I must admit, after they started, they actually opened another way for us again to start doing our stuff we actually like. Because I had to compromise my songwriting so much and my creativity just to get 2 or 3 songs on the radio, per album.
I see.
Which I don't like to do because we don't have any real rock radio stations in South Africa, except those days it was Tax FM. That was about the only radio station that played our stuff, and Barney Simon on 5FM when he was still working there. He actually played Beeskraal on an English station, which was very cool. And then at some stage, I wrote a couple of songs that made some waves on major Afrikaans stations like Jacaranda FM and IFM and stuff like that. But the last 10 years we went back to our guns fully. We just decided everybody got older now. I mean, we in our late 30s. I'm turning 45 this year. I spoke to Sito the other day as well, and he said, man, they also tried some stuff, try to keep up with the Joneses in the music scene, but they also just went back to their roots. And I mean, it's like AC/DC. I saw a documentary the other day of AC/DC. They said from the 70s when I started, all these bands came along from whoever, Metallica or Guns N' Roses, and like just there are plenty, but they just stick to the guns. And I mean, last year they brought out an album which was the fastest selling digital album of 2020. It's so I told the guys about 10 years ago, especially when I started working with new guys, because 2 of my guys immigrated to Ireland, Donnie and Marius Appelgrein. So, and Jasper as well. Jasper came back and then joined the band again. So he still does all the bass sessions if he's not playing live with us. And then I'm very fortunate still to work with people like Tiens Botha, also a brilliant session player, and Vin and Rico. Those
Okay.
are the guys I use on drums. And yeah, then I've got some cool bassists like Andre Liebenberg and Wouter Reineke used to play with me, and
Yep.
so we're quite a cool team. Another friend of ours, actually, Pedro Barbosa, was making a joke the other day, and he said, "Yeah, well, Beeskraal, you haven't rock and rolled if you haven't sessions for Beeskraal."
Is that? And he's also pretty hardcore. So if he says that, then it's serious. But to rock and roll in Afrikaans, Charles, is different to rock and rolling in English. It's a different scene completely.
Yeah,
so,
very much.
yes.
They say that all things sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I think in South Africa, for our band, we were too fat, so we didn't have sex and we didn't do drugs. So for us, it was just alcohol and rock and roll.
Okay, ek hoor jou.
So and Pedro actually, he mentioned, and we made a joke, and he said, Beeskraal is not actually a band anymore; it's a movement, So that actually made sense.
That's
quite cool,
That's a huge compliment.
Because we're ambassadors for a lot of charities, and I do a lot of stuff because I love history. I'm very much into saving, some of our heritage sites in South Africa. Recently, I was chosen to be an ambassador for the Voortrekker Monument, and stuff like that. So that's quite cool. Yeah,
that is awesome. I think if I can make a comment about that in the beginning, when you said that you guys really started something new, you were like a maverick in a sense. You started something, you combined different cultures to make Beeskraal. It's Afrikaans rock, but it's hardcore. It's nie soet Afrikaans nie. And
no baby songs.
yeah, and there's traditional culture in that. So you actually brought many worlds together, and I think personally, authenticity is something that lasts. If something is authentic, if it's truly art, it lasts. It doesn't just fade. And when something like that comes out, automatically it gets copied. That's what happens with everything, and it's irritating. It is irritating, but in a way, it's a compliment if people start copying
as well.
So congratulations. I mean, I remember us going to Beeskraal gigs in the beginning when we were still studying. That's pretty much when last I saw you, had contact with you a little bit, and it was also just a little bit, but we do remember each other very clearly. So we went to your gigs.
I was always embarrassed to sing in front of you guys that studied vocals. Because I wasn't a vocalist at all. So but anyways.
But this is
I got so used to my voice, it fits Beeskraal, but I won't attempt anything else. I'm not gonna go out now and try to sing Queen or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. If you get called for a Queen tribute show, you're gonna decline. It doesn't matter how much they pay you.
Yes, definitely,
Because you'll have to wear the tight pants as well, and that's not gonna go down well. No, that's not gonna go well. Listen, Charlie. So we listened to your music that time. And it's just amazing to see how it has evolved in this whole industry, the role that you've played. You have made an impact on the industry, not just in terms of skill and musicality, but also a person who's outspoken and a person who gets reaction for what they do. I mean, recently you've been very outspoken, not recently, but for a while now, you've been outspoken about the way that your life has changed, your Christianity and all that stuff. So in my view, you're an artist. You're a person who expresses. Your life is part of your art. It's all together. It's not a product that you're trying to manage, that you're putting out there, or it's not just that. It's very much part of your soul and your whole being.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, if you think of all these things, what you've learned in the business through the years, keeping a band together, staying strong mentally to take criticism and failure and whatever comes with that. How was your experience during the pandemic? How did your mind change at all about certain things and the way that you've been doing things in order to survive now in a different way? So I guess the question is, how did you manage to survive and carry on and make music and be happy during the pandemic? How did you do that?
I was fortunate enough to get involved with TV productions from 2013. So that actually helped me a bit, but it wasn't enough to really make ends meet, you know. And we did 2 documentaries, which we actually funded ourselves. And but yeah, it was difficult. And last year, when this, you know, between the different stages of lockdown or the levels where we could play for 50 people or not, I think we haven't played in pubs in about 15 years, and we had to do that again. So because we got used to corporates and just festivals the whole time. But in some way, I told the band it was actually a good thing for us, you know. Not that we had any air around us, because we see music as our jobs. Firstly, it's our passion, and we were blessed with our passion and our artistry to actually made a living out of it. So we never had any, you know, thought we were cool or the best or whatever, although we got a lot of accolades during the years, and won a couple of awards and stuff. But I told the guys it's like any other business at the end of the day. So yeah, we juggled some stuff to try to get through the pandemic. Gladly now this we can play for 250 people now again.
Thank goodness.
So but it I must say it is difficult, because I know I know of 2 guys that actually committed suicide, very good friends of ours, and I actually know like a couple of musos, especially one of our best friends that also sessioned with us, Jason Green. I mean, he died of COVID, which was a very big loss for our scene, because he was one of the biggest, session bassists in Gauteng. And so it definitely had an emotional effect. But I saw during the COVID, the people started getting more creative, because we didn't know. I don't know why we haven't done it before, but nobody ever live streamed anything or stuff like that. So, and then all of a sudden, you know, you had to do it. Although it wasn't viable, I told the guys we must just, keep relevant. You know, we haven't done too much of those, because we are very particular and professional in that way, especially with our sound.
I understand.
We don't like cell phone videos. I even ask people at the shows, because the sound's always not that great. You don't know who sound, if our own sound engineer is not there. And, you know, especially because I'm not a singer, sometimes the music sounds brilliant, but then I'm so off pitch here and there. So I don't like cell phone sound. But when you're actually sitting in a studio that we had to hire like 3 or 4 times to do the live stream, where everything is set up very nicely and cameras, it cost us more than we actually made through that. So that wasn't viable for us, although we got huge compliments and stuff like that. And and in the COVID, we actually recorded with David the Jager, you know, at his studio. We recorded our latest album, which is a tribute album. It's the first album I haven't wrote any songs on. It's songs from Charles Schmidt, Valiant Swart. But everything Beeskraal style. Anton Goosen, Train Up Pretoria. Sounds like Rage Against the Machine. And Culty Balls. The Culty Balls with the lyrics. Which sounds like Dropkick Murphys or Rancid or any art. So we made it Beeskraal orientated. I think there's 2 or 3 songs we just kept traditionally as it was written, like Ospraak Kromdraai. That one is for the parents. But
exactly.
we actually
I remember that song.
So we're actually having our launch now eventually, after it was postponed 3 times. So we're actually having our launch now for the album this coming Friday at the Afrikana Theatre. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much.
I mean, you must be looking forward to that, because if it's been cancelled 3 times, I think that's another thing that we had to get used to, is like constantly postponing things and not knowing. But now that it's there, wow, Ja, julle sien seker
Ja,
baie
ja.
uit. Ja, so
Ja, ja.
dis baie cool.
Ja, so ek hoop dit sal so bly vir 'n wyle. Yeah, because we hear all these rumors the whole time, and that confuses the people as well,
That's
and
it.
the venues. Because
Yeah.
now we hear now maybe December they're gonna go back to another level again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now the people are already starting to hesitate, must they book or not? You know, so
Exactly.
it's still the whole COVID thing is still it's still a bad thing for any art, not just music.
That's it.
For
Yeah.
the theaters, for anything. I mean, even for sports. I mean, the stadiums lose so much money because they can't get people to go watch games and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and and then there's the whole debate about you must get vaccine or not, and that's another whole day's discussion. But it definitely had an impact that I don't think is soon gonna get better.
Yeah.
It's not gonna just change overnight. It's gonna take a while before everything gets back to normal in the art industry.
Yeah.
Overall, and
Exactly.
I think so but we pray and believe that it will get back to normal whenever God's timing is right, basically, yes, for us to just carry on like we used to.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's been one of the biggest challenges is to try to not, as a normal person would do, plan your life, because things are probably going to change. The chance is really big. So to learn how to deal with that and live in such a mindset is a huge adjustment, and it's not going to change soon. So it's like a skill we have to, it's a skill we're learning, is to know, okay, cool, plan, but don't get too despondent if something doesn't work out.
Yes.
Carry on, train yourself to carry on, put things in place. Yes. Even though if it doesn't work out, at least you did something to motivate yourself, or whatever the case might be.
Like you're doing now. I think this is a brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the thing. It's something that I learned, it's a very one-dimensional way of thinking, to say, okay, cool, I must now go sing. I must now go and do a gig in order to make a living and be happy. But there's so many other things to us as human beings that makes us valuable and useful in life. We sometimes forget about those other things.
Yes,
I love chatting. I love chatting. I love learning from other people. I'm an extrovert, so through conversation I learn. And then I got bored with the singing in the shower thing. I think I made the statement already, and I want to open it up.
That was very cool.
Thank you.
You were the only one I saw that. Well, that did that.
Well,
all the other people streamed out of studios or anywhere else, and you did it from the shower.
You moet mooi like what? So, but anyways, but thank you. So this is more like, I miss having conversations with musicians a lot. I think that's something that affected me. So this is nice, but also to speak about the industry honestly. So I want to get to that next, Charles. Let's start with the government, and because obviously some money got lost, and we must know about the corruption and everything. But I want to ask you, did you apply for any grants, or did you ask help from the government during this time? And how did that process go?
I did, from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, which nobody actually knew about. There was the first application and nobody knew when or where it happened. And then fortunately, through a friend of mine, I heard about the second application, where I actually had lawyers helping me to get a small amount of money out of them. And then apparently there were a third and a fourth applications or distributions, but nobody knew about it. If you go onto this site and you ask a question, when's the next distribution, or or you want to apply again, you just get this generic emails back, replies. So the government didn't do anything really. And most of the musicians I know haven't received anything at all. So I think for the future in South Africa, I know there are people working on it at this moment. I think it's someone in Cape Town I'm not quite sure what their names are, but to start an actual music union and arts and culture union.
Okay.
Fight the corruption from the Department of Arts and Culture, because I mean,
I see.
Yeah, I mean, even sports persons, they didn't even get money, so it just went gone, which is very sad.
I know, because I think that's actually a good thing, is to have like a entire separate department for fighting corruption, because there is TUMSA is there, but TUMSA is working with the musicians and the entertainers to do what they do. It's a trade union, but to actually have an entire corporate thing to fight corruption is actually necessary.
Yes, like a team of lawyers or entertainment lawyers that can take on these people, you know, because you can't do anything. You can't do anything to them. I mean, it's like, well, because you can't even get a hold of them. So it's just ridiculous.
Dis 'n poep in die wind, dis in Afrikaans sê.
Exactly.
Dit is presies wat dit is.
Ja.
Ek wil nou iets spesifiek gevra tot die government ding. Dis at the end of the day, people committed suicide. Would they have committed suicide if they were as desperate to go and look for help with the government, somebody to help them, if they had that financial support, would that have happened? We can't blame anybody. I'm not saying that, but it surely would have helped in some way.
It would have.
It would have bought some time, at least. Yes. So it's quite serious. I don't know.
Yeah, because people lost their houses and their cars, and there were bad stories. Bad stories.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you a member of TUMSA and all the other organizations that's out there?
I'm with TUMSA and
Okay, like
yes.
Do you get? But this is now the thing. Also, you mentioned about the communication. I think there's a problem with the way that musicians and entertainers are being communicated with, because, like you said, nobody knew it was out there, because it's such a corporate world. Where do we go to just get the information that we need? I would assume a place like TUMSA would say, listen, everybody has to be a member to get access to these things. You have to be a member. Like, push it, and then we will send out all the info you need or something, because I didn't even think of that. I spoke to so many people the past few weeks. They didn't even think of going that route, because some of them didn't know it existed, or they thought, I just don't know how it works, so they just leave it.
Yes.
But how can we change this communication? Because it's non-existent. They expect us to now go and Google. Please help me, government. Where must I go? We must know where to go. We must know where to go.
Yeah, that's why I'm very fond of people, or us together, all the artists, to maybe start a union ourselves, and because I think that's the only way that's going to be, besides TUMSA, we have to have a union to just the artists, with a serious, strong team of lawyers, and to straighten these things out, because on our own we're not going to be able to afford an expensive team of lawyers or whatever, but there must be people out there that I believe will help us. But I just think at some stage we need to, just everybody must stand together. But I know a lot of people actually don't want to do anything against the government, because they scared now when things get back together. Then they were seen as they scared they're gonna lose gigs or their jobs or anything, because they fought. They now fought against the government, and now it's at some stages they think it's going to become a racial thing, so then they rather keep quiet. I don't care if the government was black, white, yellow or pink. If they're wrong, they're wrong, So, but I know a lot of people, especially some of the commercial artists, the top seller A-list people in South Africa, which actually got a bigger platform than any of our rock bands and jazz players or whatever. They haven't done anything. They
Yeah.
haven't done anything because they're so scared of, stepping on someone's toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if people like that doesn't want to fit in or stand together with all the other artists and the musicians,
Yeah.
then yeah, it's not going to work. But we have to get a union in place at some stage.
Exactly. I think it's an incredibly complex system that we are part
Yes.
of. And like in previous conversations that we have had, that whole thing we
Yes.
discussed about the power struggle, really. There's this bipolar thing happening. It's up and down. And
Yes. Yes.
the people in the power positions are there, but they're kind of also victim of their circumstances. And, it's sad that the people who have power to do something feel like they can't. And
Yes. Yes.
it's easy to get angry at it, and one does, because if everybody could stand together, that's really the only
Exactly.
way things will work. But it's a
Exactly.
complex thing, Charles. I don't know. You know much more about this stuff than a lot of other people, I think. But also, I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it's difficult.
I want to commend you for what you're doing. I respect outspoken people who are consistent in what they do. I have so much respect for you in that regard. I mean, you're willing to do something about it and to sacrifice
Dankie,
whatever it
ja.
takes.
I wens dit ek kon meer hulp kry.
Ek weet.
Sometimes it feels just me saying stuff and then I even get flack, for that. But yeah, what's right is right. So I'm very, outspoken. If something's not wrong, and I know there are a lot of people that thinks the same as me. They're just too scared to say something. So, but I don't mind. I've already been in so much trouble. I can't get in any more trouble deeper than what I was in. So I don't mind.
But you must know that a lot of people agree with you without saying anything. They do. People do. They're just too scared. Yeah. But Charles, so I actually just wanted to ask you about the pandemic and your career. And I just think people who are watching this, young guys who want to go into the industry, I think they'll find this valuable to understand this is not a joke. You have to be serious about what you do. You have to deal with a lot of things that's got nothing to do with music, that's difficult, that might even cause failure for you or backlash or whatever the case might be. And during the pandemic, I'm just glad to hear you guys are launching an album and things are looking forward. You're going strong, you're moving forward. So I wish you all the best for that.
Elrien, thank you so much. Bye, dankie. Dit was awesome geweest en ek love wat jy doen. I love what you do.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to see all the other guys' interviews as well. Yes.
I'm getting goosebumps. Thank you so much. I'm getting goosebumps about this because I think, you're going to be surprised by what you're hearing. People, it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly, yeah. No, we're looking forward. And keep us posted when they start getting on social media. Yeah.
I will do that. 27th of September. Here we go.
Awesome. Okay, Johnny, cool.
Enjoy your day.
Dankie.
Ons praat weer.
Dankie, Elrien.
Okay, bye.
Bye.